Tell me, why is it that IKEA doesn't have any windows in its stores? Why is it that they have a bunch of clocks on the walls, but none of them work? Do they not have money for batteries? Why is it that they offer a free play area for kids and serve huge piles of food for ridiculous prices? This schnitzel, which takes up half the plate along with the side dish, cost us €5.50. These 8 meatballs, including the side dish, cost us €5. And we got coffee and tea for free. And why is it that the entire store is designed like one gigantic maze?
Tell me why.
IKEA was once a tiny little shop a long time ago. You wouldn't have bet a dime on it. For the first 5 years, it didn't even sell furniture, but instead pens, wallets, and stockings. For the first 15 years, IKEA didn't even have a single store. They offered goods through newspaper ads and sent them cash on delivery. And look at that, it only took 65 years, and today it is hands down the largest furniture retailer in the world. Its revenue is greater than its 5 closest competitors combined. They achieved all of this because their stores are perfectly designed, literally to drain your wallet. So if you happen to go there to buy that one cabinet that would fit in your bedroom and wanted to treat yourself to a cinnamon bun for 59€, but 2 hours later you ended up in the parking lot with a cart full of towels, bathroom rugs, glasses, and cutlery, you don't need to feel guilty. You just couldn't resist their cunning, perfected marketing tricks. IKEA wasn't originally designed as one giant maze at all. During the first 20 years after it was founded, it only had 2 stores in one showroom, and none of them looked unusual on the inside. However, that changed when the architect of the then unbuilt third IKEA store visited the famous Guggenheim Museum in New York. The guy was captivated by the building's awesome spiral interior, which is designed in such a way that you'd spin around like you were in a washing machine without missing a single exhibit. And that single visit was the spark that ignited a real revolution. Today, it has become the standard. Everyone understands that the longer you keep a customer in the store, the more products they'll see, and the sooner something will catch their eye and they'll make a purchase. That's exactly why IKEA is designed like one giant maze, so you're forced to look at sections you didn't originally intend to visit. Combine that with the size of my nearest IKEA store in Bratislava, 395,000 square feet, which is about 5 soccer fields. And you've practically hit your 10,000 step goal for the next month. 15 years ago, researchers from London were studying the route the average shopper takes and how shoppers wander around and become disoriented, until finally shoppers switch off their brains and just obey, following the arrows wherever they lead, just as someone else planned it for them. And a customer with their brain switched off, that is a perfect business opportunity.
I'm gonna use all the power of my brain.
Even the creative director of IKEA himself admitted with a smile on his lips that only 20% of all the purchases you make there are based on logic and real needs.
Almost 20% of our buying decisions are based on logic and needs.
The remaining 80% of the business, which brought in over €44 billion last year, is based on emotions.
80% of our buying decisions are actually based on emotions. Of course, we are retailers, so we try to make sure that you grab a thing or two.
They have cameras, sensors, and the most modern technology discreetly placed around the store to track what you are doing and where you are walking while you wander.
We use technology to measure actually the flow of consumers and where they're interested in and in which areas they are intend to go.
This means that IKEA will only get better at all those tricks, to gently nudge you and get you to put an extra pillow or 2 into your cart. It's precisely because of those 80% of spontaneous, emotion-based purchases that those sneaky foxes didn't put in any windows and didn't put batteries in the wall clocks. That's so you lose track of time more easily. So you don't realize that
it's dark outside. We have to go.
That's why you only have one exit in such a gigantic store, so that you have as few options as possible to leave. That's why they take care of your kids for free in the play area, because when they get bored, when they've been there too long, they start getting annoying and acting up. As a result, parents have to rush, they get stressed, or they get so annoyed that they just drop everything and leave.
And that's it.
We're going home, I'm telling you.
Stress and rushing reduce the time spent in the store. You don't want that. The department where you find all those glasses, cutlery, frames, flower pots, they internally call
Open your wallet, Philip.
and the cheapest items there are literally called breathtaking items. That means they are so cheap that you can't afford not to buy them. Their role is clear: to convince you to put something in your bag. So you mentally shift from visitor mode to shopper mode, because once you open that wallet, it's easier to keep going. Huge bins filled with seemingly random piles of stuffed animals, rugs, slippers. Even those aren't here by accident. They call it Beulah Beulah. They want to create the impression that they miscalculated, that they ordered too much, and now they need to get rid of it. And you open your wallet again. I mean, since you're already on a roll, why stop? Another thing is these pencils of theirs. As a kid, I was fascinated by them.
Mom, can I really take as many as I want? And for free?
In reality, however, it is a textbook example of reciprocity, a kind of norm deeply rooted in our DNA. It almost compels us to return a favor when someone does something kind for us. When you've bought someone a birthday gift just because they gave you something for yours, that was reciprocity. When you gave a waiter a bigger tip because they left a little piece of candy with your check, that was also reciprocity. When you tasted delicious chocolate, cheese, or a drink at a sample station in a grocery store and then bought it, that was also reciprocity. You were simply well-mannered. You took a little pencil, so now it's time to pay off your debt. Furthermore, when you write down the item number on a piece of paper with that pencil, you're making a kind of commitment to yourself. It's similar to when you go to the grocery store with a shopping list and you just want to cross things off it. You don't even think about it anymore. And thirdly, those pencils are an ideal promotional item. They produce them by the millions, they cost them pennies, but thanks to them, IKEA gets into your home, onto your desk, into your drawer, into your pencil case, into your car. You see it everywhere without even realizing it. That's better than any flyer because it's useful, it's valuable. Exactly what I keep repeating to you when creating content. People don't want to read or watch ads. They want to read and watch things that interest them, entertain them, and solve their problems. And sometimes that happens to be an ad. So with these micro pencils, IKEA is just reinforcing its image of how practical, accessible, and simple it is. And that is exactly why it's the first place that comes to mind when you're considering buying furniture, right? So next time you'll make the trip there again, even though it's so far away that you practically have to take a vacation day, which in itself is actually the reason why there's a higher chance you'll buy something. Because when you invest time and gas money, you have to justify your investment so it doesn't feel like a waste.
I mean, since I've already dragged myself all the way here, I can't just leave empty-handed, right?
Plus, after a long trip, walking around and all that decision making, everyone's stomach starts growling loudly. So, any guesses on where you're gonna eat? IKEA is estimated to be one of the largest restaurant chains in the world. They offer food in more than 400 locations across 63 countries worldwide. They serve 665 million customers there annually. They sell over 1.4 billion meatballs. That's right, a furniture retailer that generates 2,150 million euros annually just from food.
Nice.
But you know, despite all the effort they put into it and the huge amount of space they set aside for those dining areas, they barely make any money from it. And they're completely okay with that. At IKEA, they sell a schnitzel that covers half your plate, plus potatoes for just 5.5 euros. These 8 meatballs with a side cost just 5 euros because you get hungry during that long shopping trip. And as the company founder Ingvar Kamprad himself said,
It's hard to do business with someone who has an empty stomach, Philip.
back in 1960, Ingvar already knew what Italian scientists researched and confirmed with data 50 years later, that when a customer is full,
They will stay longer and buy more.
specifically, those researchers went to the IKEA in Bari, where for 7 days they surveyed 700 individual shoppers and shopping groups. They recorded data from their receipts and compared the answers between those who also ate at the store. those made up 70%, and those who didn't, those were 30%. And the result? The diners spent over 58,000 euros in total versus 13,000 euros for the non-diners. Averaged out per customer, the one who ate there spent 134 euros, the one who didn't, 69. The second reason why you eat so cheaply there is because they anchor you. You tell yourself that.
If the food here is so cheap, everything must be cheap. Everything must be a perfect deal.
Because the customer has no idea if a couch for 550 euros is a lot or a little. But they know very well that a strawberry ice cream for 70 euro cents and a hot dog for 1 euro is a perfect deal. One of the former IKEA restaurant managers revealed their internal policy, according to which you couldn't buy that hot dog cheaper within a 31-mile radius. That's why the guy would go to all the stores in the area every quarter. And when a major competitor offered that hot dog for less, they would lower their price even further. IKEA managers even used to joke that the best sofa salespeople are the meatballs. So that's why the restaurant is so important. That's why it's perfectly fine if they don't make any money on that food. It's just bait to get the fish on the hook. Yum! This is good. Italian researchers also found another super interesting thing from those 700 receipts. The entire IKEA building is designed to be family friendly. The idea is that you won't go there alone. Ideally, you'll turn it into a family trip. In numbers, during a typical weekday, the average number of shoppers per receipt was 2.39 people, meaning that people went in pairs or small groups. On Saturday, it was 2.87 people per receipt. And on Sunday, it grew to 4.19 people, meaning that besides the kids, they also brought grandpa or the cat. Secondly, those shoppers who were members of the IKEA Family Loyalty Program spent 46% more money there. Specifically, the average spend for an IKEA club member was 145 euros. If they weren't in the club, they only spent 99 euros. It is precisely because of this one number that IKEA tries so hard to get you to join as well. Membership costs you 0 euros, and in exchange for registering, you get a bunch of benefits. An extra hour in the children's play area, free coffee and tea, and all sorts of discounts. And once you eat at that ultra cheap restaurant for at least 15 euros, you get a 15 euro voucher for home accessories.
Just for you, Philip. Just for being you.
They even turned the whole loyalty program into a game. They give you points for logging into your account, for opening the app, for creating a list of favorite products, if you save a design in the planner, or when you attend one of their events. But by doing that, they get data about you. They find out who you are, what you want to buy, and they lock you in even more. Because after all, once you've earned those points, you have to use them. Right? Even Roman emperors 2,000 years ago knew very well that you have to give people bread and circuses, and they will love you. They'll spend a lot of money with you. But the biggest mystery is that despite all those discounts, low prices, and free stuff, despite the fact that the furniture segment is an ultra-competitive market with razor-thin margins, IKEA is a super profitable business. Out of the 44 billion euros it generated last year, it had a net profit of 1.4 billion euros after all costs, depreciation, and taxes. And its founder was once the 4th richest person on this planet. Even such immense value is sometimes hidden in places where you wouldn't expect it at all. It's a similar story to the invention of baby carrots. Did you know that nothing like that exists in nature? Baby carrots are an invention to sell ugly, unwanted carrots. Watch the full video about this brilliant business.